I'm Paul Jennings, I'm the minister of Stockport Evangelical Church, and I thought we'd have a look today into the confusing world of Watchtower theology. Why confusing? Well, we'll soon find out. We're going to be taking a look today at the doctrine of new light. If you're familiar with that particular Watchtower doctrine, new light really equals new truth, and it's really a misrepresentation of Proverbs 4 verse 18, or perhaps even, as is often the case with such sects and cults which veer away from the truth, is that the doctrine comes first and then they turn to the Bible looking for justification and substantiation from the scriptures. So for new light, read new truth. And basically how it works is this, that Jehovah's Witnesses or the Watchtower teach that God has revealed truth to us, but that, if you like, the picture is a little bit fuzzy, a little bit blurred, and as with the sort of elapse of time, that picture will get sharper and sharper and clearer. And so there's this kind of progressive element in which we're able to understand more and more about God's revelation. Obviously, only if you're in Jehovah's chosen organization. Just to clarify what I'm saying about what the doctrine of new light is, I'm going to quote to you from Zion's Watchtower, February 1881, and page 3. And this is what it says: "If we were following a man, undoubtedly it would be different with us. Undoubtedly one human idea would contradict another, and that which was light 1 or 2 or 6 years ago would be regarded as darkness now. But with God there is no variableness, neither shadow of turning, and so it is with truth. Any knowledge or light coming from God must be like its author. A new view of truth never can contradict a former truth." I want you to just hold that in your memory. A new view of truth never, the writer says, never can contradict a former truth. New light never extinguishes old light, but adds to it. So it can never contradict. What is a contradiction? I guess we all kind of know what that is. A contradiction is sort of saying the opposite, isn't it? It is the assertion of that which is opposite of that which contradicts the first thing that you said. So that's what a contradiction is. And the Watchtower is saying, if it's from God, if this new light is from God, it cannot contradict, it cannot say the opposite of what was said before. Let's just look at the Jehovah's Witnesses as an organisation, the Watchtower. What does the average man in the street know about the Watchtower organisation? Well, I guess they might know that JWs don't celebrate Christmas. You know, if you get into conversation with a JW about Christmas, they'll tell you it's pagan, it's of pagan origins, it is wrong, Jehovah doesn't like it. I think one of their leaflets said Jehovah doesn't like it when you celebrate Christmas. And yet 'twas not always so. I wonder if you've ever seen that wonderful picture from, I think it's about 1926, Christmas at Bethel, and you have Judge Rutherford and all the governing body and so on, all dressed up in their nice party hats, tinsel wrapped round the pillars, and Christmas crackers, all celebrating Christmas. If you've never seen it, have a look at this.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to...
And yet today, JWs will say, no, Christmas, that's a bad thing. Listen to this. The Watchtower, 1st of December 1904, page 364, says this: "It is not necessary for us to quibble, particularly about the date. We may as well join with the civilized world in celebrating the grand event on the day which the majority celebrate, Christmas Day." They have the Watchtower telling you, hey, join with the civilized world, celebrate the birth, the incarnation of Jesus Christ. And yet now they say, no, you shouldn't celebrate it. Does that sound like a contradiction to you? Let's look at some more. Here is a list of the views that the Watchtower has held about a particular subject. We'll have a look at blood. As you know, you speak to a JW, blood is high on the agenda. Most people know, the average man in the street knows that JWs don't have blood transfusions. They believe it's a sin, they believe it's wrong. But once again, it was not always so. 1940, the Watchtower declared that blood transfusions are acceptable. 1945, the Watchtower declared blood transfusions are not acceptable. 1956, blood serums should be treated as blood and are banned. 1958, blood serums and fractions are acceptable. 1959, storage of own blood unacceptable. 1961, blood fractions are not acceptable. 1964, blood fractions are acceptable. 1974, blood serums are your own personal choice. Sounds like contradiction to me, but the Watchtower tells us actually, no, it isn't contradiction. Just hear what they've got to say. This is from Watchtower 1981, December the 1st, page 27, under the title, The Path of the Righteous Does Keep Getting Brighter. And this is in defense of their, yes, you can have a blood transfusion, no, you can't have a blood transfusion. It says this, the path of the righteous does keep getting brighter. However, it may have seemed to some as though that path was not always gone straight forward. At times, explanations given by Jehovah's visible organization have shown adjustments, seemingly to previous points of view. But this has not actually been the case. Really? This might be compared to what is known in navigational circles as tacking. By manoeuvring the sails, the sailors can cause a ship to go from right to left, back and forth, but all the time making progress toward their destination in spite of contrary winds. There you are. You thought it was contradiction. You thought that it was incompetence. You thought that it was error. No, it was tacking, my friend. They were just tacking. That's all they were doing. They were heading towards the destination. It's just they were tacking their way there. But you know, I think it's a tale that was written by Hans Christian Andersen. The tale of the Emperor's New Clothes. And do you remember that what happened? There were these charlatans that came along to the Emperor, and they tried to persuade him that he could buy this new suit of clothes. And they sort of opened the box and showed him the suit of clothes, and he says, oh, but there's nothing there. And they say, well, this suit of clothes is only visible to those who are very intelligent, to those who are better than everybody else. They can see it. And the Emperor sort of says, oh yes, I think I can see it now. He didn't want to appear to be stupid. And then the courtiers also, they come in on the act and they join in supporting that lie, because again, they want to appear to be intelligent. They don't want to appear stupid. And so all of them collaborate together, and the king walks around completely naked, but all the courtiers are saying, my, what a fine suit of clothes the emperor has. And then it takes one little boy. Well, you know, when I read things like this, I feel like the little boy. I feel like the one pointing my finger and saying, hey, hang on a minute. The emperor is completely naked. In other words, what the Watchtower is saying here about his doctrine of new light is total nonsense. Everybody who's not in the organization could see it. Everybody's pointing their finger and saying, but this is contradiction. Everybody outside the organization says, hang on, 1914, 1925, 1975, JWs are famous for failing abysmally at their prophesying the end of the world. That's what they're well known for. And yet those inside the organisation are not wanting to appear stupid, are saying, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I'll buy what they're saying. Come on, please. Enough of this. What is really silliness? This is clear contradiction. Let me read you what the Watchtower organisation said in 1976, May 15th, page 298. It says this: It is a serious matter to represent God and Christ in one way, then find that our understanding of the major teachings and fundamental doctrines of the Scripture was in error. What confidence can one put in the sincerity or judgment of such persons? There you have it, from the Watchtower itself. What confidence can you put in firstly the sincerity, and secondly the judgment of such people who on the one hand say one thing and then a year or two later completely contradict themselves? Remember, a new view of truth never can contradict a former truth. And yet the whole history of the Watchtower has been one of making contradictory predictions, statements, and laws. Far from tacking, I put it to you that they are sailing around in circles. Please have the common sense and just the sheer reason to leave the Watchtower and to find Jesus Christ for yourself. May God bless you all as you search for the truth.